The sort of confirmation hearings for President Biden's pick to serve as Attorney General, Judge Merrick Garland.
Judge Garland, who famously couldn't get a hearing when President Obama nominated him to a vacant Supreme Court seat, is now expected to be approved as AG with minimal opposition. In his opening statement, which was released today ahead of tomorrow's hearing, Judge Garland wrote, quote, "It is a fitting time to reaffirm that the role of Attorney General is to serve the rule of law and to ensure equal justice under the law." If confirmed, Garland would prosecute a number of cases concerning issues on which he has a track record. In 2007, he voted to uphold a ban on handguns in Washington, D.C. In 2015, he sided with the court in a ruling to enforce the Affordable Care Act's birth control mandate. He also has a long history of siding with federal agencies facing challenges over regulatory actions. Joining us tonight on NewsNation to preview tomorrow's Senate nomination hearing for Judge Garland is constitutional law expert Paul Lisneck. Paul, thank you for joining us.
Always good to be with you, Ruta Bay, and I think Merrick Garland, whatever happens, is going to certainly be nominated. He'll get through.
All right. Well, he is finally getting that Senate hearing more than 4 years after his Supreme Court nomination, and this time it looks like he will be confirmed. So this is an interesting turn of events.
Well, there's no question about it. And look, Merrick Garland is a political animal. He understands it. I should say he's actually from my hometown. I know some of the family. And but he also understands what it means. He's been a judge for 20 plus years. So he is a political animal in terms of understanding the process, but he's not going to be political in this hearing. He's going to get some challenges from people like Lindsey Graham, who are going to try and get him to agree to, investigate Hunter Biden and all that political stuff that the senators will bring to play. The reality of it is that's really not fair to Garland. He will sidestep all of that, and he will simply talk about doing what the facts of the case tell him to do. He'll make no promises.
Well, I wanted to touch on that a little bit because he could be tasked with overseeing the criminal investigation of former President Donald Trump. How do you think that would go? Do you think he would choose not to prosecute it because it would be too divisive for the country and give the appearance of political prosecution? Do you think he would appoint a special counsel? Would he go forward with it himself?
Great questions. First of all, whether it gets prosecuted, let's put it that way, is not going to be a political decision. It's going to be because the evidence warrants the prosecution. That's an important point to make, because the standard of proof in what would be a criminal case is far heavier than it was in the impeachment trial that we just went through, and which, of course, led to an acquittal. Here, the conviction requirement would be beyond a reasonable doubt. And legal scholars kind of disagree as to whether there really is enough evidence to bring a case that would achieve it beyond a reasonable doubt. I can tell you, federal prosecutors don't bring a case unless they believe they can win it. They don't do it because they think it's appropriate or something like that. If they don't think they can win it, they won't bring it. Now, whether or not Attorney General Garland would oppose a special prosecutor, he could, because if they decide to proceed, there will be an appearance that, oh, this is revenge, you took me off the court, all this other kind of stuff that he would be looking at. So having a special prosecutor step in is a possible thing, because he may want to maintain the appearance of independence, which is so very important to him. He's already said it, and it's important to the way the DOJ should operate.
And what about a possible prosecution of Hunter Biden?
Well, listen, I know that a lot of the conservative media has made huge cases about Hunter Biden. I've looked at that case from all sorts of perspectives. There's just the purpose of going after Hunter Biden, really, from a political perspective, is about going after Joe Biden. That's what really propels it. The evidence just doesn't really seem to be there. Once again, because Garland would be concerned about an appearance. I mean, Lindsey Graham putting pressure on him is not going to matter to an Attorney General Garland. There are people who have already been looking at that case. It's already in the system, I should say. So it's not as though one would have to start. My guess is Attorney General Garland, when it comes to that, will get a report. He'll take a look at what's going on. And if he sees that there is stuff there that we and the public don't know about, and he feels it needs to proceed, my sense of him, and I guess knowing family of his and all that kind of thing, he'll do what's the appropriate thing to do. And if he thinks there's something to be prosecuted, he will do it. He won't let the fact that his appointment comes from the president keep him from prosecuting it. That I would tell you.
So an Attorney General Merrick Garland, obviously stark contrast to Attorney General William Barr. What are the key changes you would expect in how the Justice Department is run in terms of sentencing and prosecutions?
Look, I do a lot of work for the Justice Department. I do a lot of training in the Justice Department, and it's going to be a night and day scenario from the way it was under Barr. Look, the Attorney General's office, the DOJ, is supposed to be an independent entity. We've heard this for the last several years, but the Attorney General is not the president's counsel. And William Barr, who didn't have to become the president's counsel, allowed himself to go in that direction. He did take cases on behalf of the president, which arguably should not have been done by the Attorney General of the United States. His client, the Attorney General's client, is the United States of America, not the President of the United States. That's not a partisan comment. That's nothing to do with whether you love President Trump or don't like President Trump. That's the way it's supposed to be in the law and under the law. So the bottom line is you're not going to see Garland doing any of Joe Biden's bidding. You're not going to see Joe Biden ask Garland to do any kind of bidding in terms of prosecuting certain cases. I think you will see a wall between DOJ and the executive branch, as there should be and as there should have been in the Trump administration under William Barr. You had it with Jeff Sessions, by the way. Sessions, which is why he couldn't survive, because Sessions understood what the role of Attorney General was and he drew the line. You didn't see it with William Barr, and you will see it back with Merrick Garland. And again, it's not a political comment to say, it is what is supposed to be and the way it's supposed to be in the process of handling the criminal law and the civil law when the client is the United States.
Paul Lisneck, thank you so much for your insight as always.
Thank you, Ruta.